Hey everyone, welcome back to the K2N Online Paddle School. We are back here on YouTube, and today we're going to talk about the importance of creating and using positive blade angle to your advantage. Quickly defining blade angles. Positive blade angles, as I'm oriented this way, the paddle blade is facing this direction. Neutral is as the paddle is straight up and down. And negative is as the paddle is facing behind us. We have an earlier video talking about powering the pendulum where we go through this positive, neutral, and negative blade angle and using our body to make sure that we are powering that movement. Today, we're just talking about positive blade angle, its role in enhancing your forward stroke, and how we can use it to make the boat move faster more consistently. There are some very simple concepts in creating positive blade angle, and there are a few things that we're going to go over on why it's important to take the time to set that up each stroke. So there are increased leverages that we have in our advantage as the paddle is oriented this way. When we apply power to the water in a downward way, we're trying to create lift within the boat. When the paddle blade is oriented this way, we have the opposite side of the blade facing up. So as we apply pressure on a positive angle, we're making forces that are going upward. As we take a stroke, lifting the boat forward and up and surging it out of the water increases our power on the stroke. There is an inherent leverage advantage as we have the paddle oriented in this positive angle as it touches the water. The act of the blade going into the water moves the boat forward. Now that cue goes against some other resources that you may stumble upon on YouTube. Being told to wait for the entire blade to be in the water before applying any force to it is a tip designed for beginners to stop them from splashing as they take their stroke. At a certain point in your paddling journey, you're going to stop slapping water and throwing that water everywhere. One of the ways to continue to make progress is using your paddle a little bit more technically as you are going through this progression. That technical prowess is using the blade tip to touch the surface of the water and finding this force of the blade entering into the water, propelling your boat forward. This allows you to lengthen out your stroke. As you take strokes from positive blade angle, having the blade tip touching the water, your stroke starts as the blade starts to enter into the water, which increases the length of that stroke tremendously. If you wait for the paddle to go into the water, it's impossible to get this whole blade in the water up here, right? As we're going through the pendulum, the whole blade won't go into the water until here. If I'm not applying force onto my paddle until this phase of the stroke, I now only take a stroke that is about this long. Combating somebody that is taking a stroke that is nearly twice as long because they're utilizing their tool a little more efficiently makes it very difficult to keep up with that paddler. The longer the distance that you have into the stroke, the less energy you need to put into that extra length to get more reward. Somebody taking paddle strokes that are only in this back half have to be twice as strong as somebody that can utilize a long stroke from the front to the end. Positive blade angle allows you that opportunity to lengthen out the stroke. This concept is exactly the same as we are looking at the kayak stroke with the wing blade. As I set up this positive blade angle, the moment the blade tip touches, this gives me the opportunity to begin moving my craft to the blade and beyond it, increasing the stroke length at the front by creating positive blade angles is critical for increasing your racing performances. So the next thing we want to look at is how do we create positive blade angle? And it is very simple, but it is also very simple to mess up. The simple truth is that you need to keep the handle further back than the blade. Very simple, right? The handle is closer to me than the blade. As the handle is over the blade, we have neutral, and as the handle is past the blade, we have negative blade angle. The control of the paddle is dictated by your top hand and bottom hand, which control the bottom of the paddle and the top of the paddle. So knowing this, we have to have your top hand further towards the body and the bottom hand further away. Positive blade angle has revealed itself. As we take strokes, we want to go forward onto the stroke. And in our minds, it's very easy for every joint to do one specific task. If I need to go forward, my bottom hand goes forward and my top hand goes forward. And now as I take strokes, if both hands go forward, I've lost positive blade angle. I can only interact with the water starting with neutral, then the pendulum only has the back half to its advantage. So the goal into creating positive blade angle is to have the top hand go backwards and the bottom hand go forward. This is one of the important reasons that we have rotation. When we rotate, this helps us reveal our positive blade angle. If all of the joints on the top hand go back, so my top hand, elbow, shoulder, hip, all of these go backwards, now when I set up the stroke, the opposite side is now coming forward, and it's this simple to find your positive blade angle. The tricky part is the timing, making sure that you create and maintain these shapes until the blade tip touches the water, then complete the rest of the stroke. It is easy for paddlers to create positive blade angle in the air, lose it in the air, and then drop down into the stroke like so. This minimizes your overall leverages on the front end of the stroke. It limits the length of the stroke in general, and overall it limits your power output with your overall movement. So positive blade angle is found with the top hand joints going back. Again, this is very tough because we want everything going forward like so. Training yourself to have half the body go backwards allows this positive blade angle to reveal itself. Very simple. The same exact idea when we're looking at the kayak stroke. As I rotate my shoulders, you can see I have one blade that's going further forward, one blade is further back, and this positive blade angle has now revealed itself. If this top hand comes forward too much, I'm going to lose all of that angle as I go into that stroke. Just like we talked about in the last video with top arm position, you can take this positive blade angle idea and mess it up for your overall paddling performance. The top hand being closer to the body, we only want it so close to us. We don't want it too far away, but we also don't want it too close. Having this elbow and this forearm too close to the body limits its overall ability to create power. So my positive blade angle is excellent as I'm in this position, but my ability to create force with my top hand is severely limited. Looking at this, if I had a ball in my hand and I had to throw it from here, right, this would look absolutely ridiculous. But why would you use this top hand in the same position to power your paddle stroke? It looks equally as ridiculous in this configuration, but we will lose the paddle's leverages if this arm is too far out. So there's always that happy medium. Creating a 90-degree angle with this arm creates the space between the elbow and the hip. It creates the space between the hand and the shoulder, and all of these power triangles now reveal themselves. This puts this arm in great position to create power as the shoulder goes back, as this arm goes forward. Now we're using this top arm to its full advantage and maximizing the paddle's positive blade angle. There are so many benefits to positive blade angle to start your stroke. Make sure you're utilizing your tool the moment the blade tip touches the water. You can begin moving your boat forward and making sure that your joints are set up in proper position to use that paddle to its maximum. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video. Don't forget, the K2NOnlinePaddleSchool.com has 330 videos. We have quick videos on drills. We have long form content just like this video, talking about the top arm, the bottom arm, the hips, the legs, using the paddle in the catch, the power phase, the exit, the recovery, whatever it is, we talk about it at great length on the website. The monthly subscription also comes to 24/7 access to a coach. If you have questions, I don't understand this concept, whatever it is, we can work together to make sure that you are improving. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel here. We have the Paddle Pursuit podcast coming out every Monday. We have so many videos lined up. We should be booked out for the rest of the year. Thank you all so much for supporting the channel, supporting the website. It is thanks to you all and your involvement that we're able to continue to put this media out for you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next week for our next paddle tip.